Hi there, I'm Ryan, one of the support and education engineers here at Woopra, and in this video I'm going to be covering the Woopra tracking snippet and how our tracking works. We'll dive into how Woopra identifies users and how to send custom events and properties. I'll also share some best practices for tracking and how we can test various tracking events. To get started, I'll note that this video is geared more towards developers who will be implementing the tracking for websites or SPAs and who are familiar with SDKs and JavaScript. The first thing I'll be covering is where to find the tracking snippet. If we navigate to our Woopra project, click on the Configurations tab, click Snippets on the left side, then click JavaScript. This will take us to our basic snippet. For this video, I'll be using the JavaScript console to track events. This will not be the method when you are implementing tracking on your site, but simply meant as a demonstration of how our tracking works. So what's tracked out of the box? Taking our basic snippet without any modifications, our snippet will track page views and basic visitor information. This is info like page title, URL, IP, user agent, screen resolution, and language. What this translates to is where's this user from, such as country or region, what browser this user is using, what operating system, and the device type. To start tracking, I'm going to copy the basic snippet inside the script tags. Next, I'll navigate to any site. I'll just use google.com for this demonstration, then open up the console and paste in our tracking snippet. Once I click enter, this will track our first page view event. I can now go back to Woopra and locate my profile. In Woopra, I'll navigate to our people profiles, where I can find myself by creating a new segment and filter on the IP or city, or I can simply refresh the page and click on the most recent visitor. So opening up this profile, we can check to see if Woopra successfully tracked our page view along with our visitor information. Next, we'll visit how to identify users and how to track custom events. For tracking this data, Woopra will use the woopra.identify and woopra.track functions. To demonstrate these functions, I'll navigate back to the page where we loaded our tracker, and again I'll use the console. Since the tracking snippet's already loaded, I can simply go ahead and enter woopra.identify. We'll put the email as test1234@woopra.com and hit enter. To send identifying information with woopra.identify, the SDK assigns properties you will pass to the visitor object for the next track request. It's the woopra.track function that will send the request with any visitor properties that have been set, along with the event name and the event properties in the same request. In other words, visitor properties are normally sent with the woopra.track request. However, to send these visitor properties without the track request, we can use another function called woopra.push. Just to note, there's not a need to use both woopra.track and woopra.push, so it really depends on if you're sending an event or just the identifying data alone. In our example, since we're only sending the email, we'll go ahead and run the push function. To check this, we can go into our network tab and search for /track/identify and click on the last one. Here we can see if the event was successfully sent. Next, let's add some more identifying properties such as name and company. We can send multiple properties in the same function, so I'll use woopra.identify and enter a name. We'll just use Ryan1 and company as Woopra test. For name as a best practice, you'll want to enter the full name of the visitor. This way, it'll be correctly displayed in the Woopra UI at the top of the user's profile. There are a few things to note when identifying users. For one, Woopra uses email as a unique ID. You can change the name or other info in the profile, but if you change the email, this will create a new profile. If two profiles share the same email, Woopra will automatically merge these two profiles together. More info can be found in our docs, which I'll link to in our video's description. Secondly, where should you track emails? Well, you'll really want to track emails basically whenever they enter it on your site. This can be logins, form fills, blog posts, newsletter subscriptions, or any place they enter their email. Lastly, Woopra will only update visitor properties that change, so it's not a bad idea to always send visitor information with the event. This will guarantee that you always have the most up-to-date version of those visitor properties. Let's quickly navigate back to our profile in Woopra just to confirm that these properties have been sent. I'll go ahead and refresh this report and again click on my profile. I can now see that the email was updated along with the name and company properties. So before diving into custom events, I just want to note that Woopra does not support objects and arrays, so make sure you do flatten the data when sending these events. The data types Woopra support are numbers, text, booleans, and timestamps. Great, so how do we track custom events? For this, we'll be using the woopra.track function. To demonstrate how this works, let's say we want to track when a user plays a song on your site. So what kind of properties would this have? Well, we can have title, genre, artist, year, and whatever properties you want to track along with this event. The syntax will be very similar to our identify function. We'll have the event name along with any properties associated with the event. So let's take a look at some examples of the played song event that we want to send. As you can see, we have the event name of played song along with some properties. Next, I'll go ahead and paste some of these examples into the console to be sent to Woopra. Great, so now that I've sent a few events to Woopra, I can go back to our profile and confirm that these were received. I'll go ahead and refresh this profile, and we can now see that we have the 3 played song events. I can click on these events and see that the associated properties were sent with this event as well. There's also a link to the schema that I can click on. If this is the first time I've sent this event, Woopra will automatically add these events to the schema where you can edit how it's displayed in the profiles. The schemas do not affect the tracking for the events, simply they are used to tell Woopra what the data is and how to use it. If we click the link, you can see that we can edit the data types and we can change the template of how this data is displayed in the profiles. Great, so now I hope you have a better understanding of how our tracking works and how you can identify and track custom events. Be sure to check out our links in our video's description for more information, and if you have any questions, please contact us at support@woopra.com. Thanks.